Hi, I'm Pastor Steve Green, and with me is my wife, Dee.
As we continue to work our way back, we believe the first thing to get back to is prayer.
After 40 years of ministry, we know that prayer changes things.
You're not alone. If you need prayer, call the MTC Christ is Center prayer line.
Or submit your prayer request online, mtcfc.org. Remember, we're here for you, and we've got your back.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, or whenever you are taking a look at this broadcast. It is IMF. We are in the harvest time. I'm Shelley Lane, and I will be moderating a panel this morning, an interesting panel on social services, on seniors, on respect, and just overall how social services really does impact the ministry. But before we go into that, I'd like to just share a little bit about IMF and who we are. We are under the leadership of Apostle Steve Green, who is our amazing leader. And basically IMF, for those of you all who are not familiar, is a coalition of ministers and pastors that recognize the need of covenant fathering. And basically IMF is helping pastors, ministers to become stronger in the word, to have a covering, and to be able to go out and spread the gospel. So this session this morning, or whenever you're taking a look at it, we'd like to welcome you in. Sit with us, be with us, and learn a little bit about social services and how it impacts ministry. This morning, again, whenever you're watching this, we have with us Dr. Chastity Roberts, who will be talking about social services and really the impact on ministry, but also how social services helps you to build outside and community and neighbors. And then we have Sharon Hilborn, who will be talking about the Respect Organization, once again founded by our apostle, Steve Green. And the Respect Organization has been in business a long time, helping neighborhoods and communities to build respect. And then we have Joseph Jenkins, who's going to be with us today, sharing about senior services. So many seniors are impacted by what's happening in our nation. And Joe will be able to share a little bit about insurance and things that really do affect the lives of our seniors. So we are excited this morning. We hope that you take a pad and a pencil or a pen out and jot down a couple of notes. Hopefully today you'll get some information that you'll be able to take back to your community and your neighborhood. So with that, let's get started. All right, well, we're going to start off, if we can, with respect. And we're going to start a little bit off with Sharon. And the reason why is because respect is near and dear to More Than Conquerors Faith Church and our leader. So Sharon, I'd like, if you would, to share a little bit about the history of respect, what it is that we do, and then I'm going to kind of challenge you a little bit about how we deal with respect out in our neighborhoods and our communities. Sharon, if you'll start there.
Thank you, Ms. Shelley. Panel, so happy to be with you. Giving honor to God, our pastor, Steve Green, and the staff and family here at More Than Conquerors Faith Church. We're so grateful to be with you today. I represent the Respect Organization. We are a community-based youth outreach program here in the city of Birmingham. We are celebrating this year 30 years of ministry in this area. Yes,
wow.
Give us a hand.
Awesome.
We have had boots on the ground, for real, in the trenches. Our mission is to instill the importance of character, integrity, moral stability, nonviolent problem solving, and academic excellence in our youth. Our message is respect. It is an acronym that was delivered to us by Pastor Green, and it means respect every single person, ever created today. Miss Shelley, I think back to the days when we started out going into the schools, right? We'd have Aretha Franklin blaring R-E-S-P-C-T, find out what it means to me. Sock it to me, sock it to me. But those were the days, and we're just so happy. But we are a nonprofit organization here in the city. We have taken our services throughout Birmingham and Jefferson County. We've been in Dothan, Alabama, Jasper, Alabama. We've been into the Black Belt and as far as Tennessee. And we have graciously received keys to these cities, and we're thankful for that. And it has just been a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for us. But back in 1994, Pastor Green, Apostle Green, was given the vision for the Respect organization. And we started out with an annual back-to-school rally. Now we've done that rally for 30 years. We started out at our fairgrounds, which is all a crossplex now. But our first rally, we had about 20,000 students and families on the grounds. The educational system from the federal level had declared our rally one of the largest in the nation. And it humbled us, and it just put fire to us to just keep this thing going. So we've been we have given out thousands and thousands of book bags, school supplies, community resources, and connected people with different services in the communities. We've had coat drives, we've given away shoes, and just a myriad of things that we have done to serve our young people and the community. Some of our events include an annual egg drop. We have our fall festival that we're getting ready for now on October 27th here on the grounds of More Than Conquerors and their Bethesda Family Life Center. After that, we're anticipating a turkey drive, and following that will be our annual benefit concert featuring our school choirs. But mentioning our back-to-school rally this year, we did...
And before you do that, I want to hold that for now, because we want to make sure we let folks know that that's coming up really soon. So hold that thought just for a minute.
Sure.
Before we go more into Respect, because I love what Respect is doing, I do want to talk with Joe Jenkins a little bit about senior services so that we have an opportunity to kind of dialogue. So Joe, share with us a little bit about senior services and insurance and what makes that important and why you're working in that.
First of all, thank you for having me this morning. And I just appreciate this church. First of all, I am an elder here, and I just appreciate this church and our pastor, how that he wants to get everyone involved, and how that he is knowing the state of his flock, and also the state of everyone that he meets. Actually, he is he's reaching out to make sure that the community is taken care of. And so with that, in basically going over senior care and Medicare and things of that nature, we have a situation in this nation where things change every year as far as Medicare is concerned, and that's when the population is aging, which I think in 2033, most of, I should say, the majority of the population in the U.S. will be seniors. You know, so that is, even in that, you know, we have to think about those things. And one of the things that I find out with seniors is that when it comes time to retire or to leave that job, because we never really retire, guys. You know, you never really want to retire. You really want to always be active. But when it's time to leave a job and move on to something else, a lot of people get scared because they don't know what to do. They don't know what's happening. And with this here today, I'm just trying to let you in on a little bit. There's nothing to be afraid of, first of all. There's nothing to be afraid of, because God has you as long as you're dependent upon him. And there are some things that we need to make sure that we alert ourselves to. For instance, you know, when you go on to Medicare, there is some cost with that. When you retire, you want to make sure that you have a stable income, and there's ways to do that, and also you want to make sure that your insurances and are in place, and wheels and things of that nature. But I get ahead of myself. But I'm here to make sure that, hey, to tell you, have peace about it, and God's going to take care of you. You just need to make sure that you avail yourself of what's available.
That makes great sense, and we're going to come back to that. And Dr. Roberts, if you would sort of share a little bit about your piece as it relates to social services, and we won't even go into impact in the ministry just yet. Just give us a tidbit, if you would, about social services and where you find yourself and how we're impacting the communities.
Okay. Again, thank you all for this opportunity to really share something that is near and dear to my heart. So thank you, Pastor, for entrusting me with that. I would say when I think about social services and how we interact and how we engage social services as it relates to working as a nonprofit or working as a ministry, I look at it as a part of kingdom building, or what I would say is kingdom collaboration. And it provides an opportunity for organizations or for churches to then increase their capacity in a way that they would not otherwise be able to increase it based off of limited funding, limited staffing. And when you can really allow yourself to think about other community organizations, think about other corporations as an opportunity for you to really build partnerships, and not just looking for a funding source or not just looking for someone to provide a service. It positions you for not just an immediate ability to address a need, but for future needs that could come up. And so I see it more as capacity building for the kingdom. And when you can see it and approach it as capacity building for the kingdom, you don't see it as them and us. We're all one team. And it's how can we work together to serve this particular population? The Bible talks about every joint supplying its part.
Yes.
And so when I think about working with social services agencies, I think about how can I allow for that joint to supply its part in the body? And when you think of it that way, it then takes off this onus of trying to be impressive, trying to create a superficial relationship, and it puts you in a position where you all take ownership of the community that you serve.
And let's talk about that for a minute. All of what you all are doing is profound, but you're all serving, it seems like, different populations. Clearly, Joe, you are talking to the seniors and making sure that seniors have what they need as they go on to later life. That is impactful because we already know that the centenarian population in the United States is over, I think it's over 11,000 centenarians just in the United States. So if you would kind of share along the lines of what Dr. Roberts talked about, and that is, what piece do you think you're playing in terms of making sure that our churches, our communities, but our seniors particularly are cared for?
First of all, in the church, it's not been talked about enough as to what to expect, to what degree do you have to get involved in that. First of all, we have seniors, and we know that everybody gets those phone calls, Hey, the government's giving away free money, and in most cases, during COVID even, when the government was giving away money, when the government was giving away our money, when the government was giving away money, they actually did it through all the news outlets. So if someone calls you up on the phone and tells you that the government just started giving away some more money, that pretty much is a lie.
Beware.
My biggest thing with seniors, I would say, is that stop wanting something for nothing. or let me say this even better. Stop being caught on that phone call saying, okay, you can get an $800 food card per month. It ain't out there, okay? And the thing about it is that when our seniors know what their rights are and what they're actually getting or what they're supposed to be able to get, it actually adds and enhances their vitality. It enhances. Let me put it another way. It gives them peace. They can serve God. They can actually know what their rights are in the natural, but even more so than that, be able to depend upon God spiritually and also manifest what He has for them in the natural.
So would it be clear to say that education
Yes.
is primary even for our senior population?
Definitely.
Because there are so many scams and those types of things out there, we have to rely on the word, but we also have to rely on education
Exactly.
and getting resources for seniors.
And one of those things, I think every senior needs a good insurance agent. Every senior needs a good insurance agent. And when you have a good insurance agent that you can look in their face and say, hey, look, this is what's actually going on with me, and this is what I need, then your insurance agent can be the first one to say, okay, this right here, have you availed yourself of this right here, or have you availed yourself of that right there? So if we don't have a good insurance agent, if we don't have a good insurance agent, then one that we can look in their face, because there are a lot of them that call over the phone. They're nationwide, and all their job is to get you into another plan so they can become your insurance agent. But if they have a good insurance agent, I prefer one that's saved myself. But anyway, if they have a good insurance agent, they can actually direct them in the right way to go.
So education
Yes.
is key for seniors as well. And I want to go to Sharon on education, but Chastity, you look like you wanted to say something.
Yes, and I just wanted to jump in real quick to kind of back and give a little bit more of an overview or an idea about why that education is so important.
Please.
Because, a lot of times we think about things like senior care. It's really isolated, and we really don't think about seniors holistically, and that's what we need to do. And we don't think about seniors holistically because a lot of times we're thinking about, whether or not they have a ride to church, whether or not, they may have food. But we're not thinking about necessarily their health care. We're praying for the sick, but not necessarily thinking about why are they sick in the first place. And when we start to think more systematically about what's happening with our congregations and what's happening with our community, it will then allow for us to really think more deeply about what those community needs are. And then we start doing things like bringing in insurance agents to talk to our seniors, realizing that the reason why they are sick is because they haven't been able to get to the doctor. The reason why they are sick is because they can't get their medication. The reason why they're sick is because they're eating the wrong foods.
Right.
And then when we start thinking about, okay, so how can we make sure that our seniors now get the medical treatment that they need and that they're not missing out on certain types of care, that they're not missing out on their appointments to the doctor, then we start to think, okay, we need to get an insurance agent in. We need to then collaborate with an organization out in the community who can then help us to get transportation for these seniors. We need to then collaborate with another organization who can make sure that our seniors have fresh food. And so when we start thinking about it that way, then we start thinking about, okay, so one of the things that we need to do for our ministry is to then think about senior education in all these different areas. So now we need maybe a senior resource fair where we have people like Elder Jenkins to come in and really educate people about what it is that you can do if you are a senior or if you are a caregiver for a senior. How do you make sure that you increase your own personal capacity to be able to be a caregiver? And so it's things like that that we have to start thinking bigger picture so that we can get to those individual needs and not just think, okay, we're randomly having an insurance agent come in. It's not a random occurrence. We're having them come in because our seniors are missing. Our seniors are sick. Our seniors are underinsured or uninsured because they're uneducated.
And I think she makes an excellent point, and all of us, I think, are pretty much aware. But I think one of the things that we have to look at is how are we serving the entire body, not just spiritually, but serving the whole body in terms of the nutrition piece, in terms of economics, in terms of insurance, all of those. But I'm hearing that education is vital, is paramount in terms of what it is that every age is learning. So I want to go back to Sharon for a minute. Respect really has done well in the last 30 years, bringing respect to the schools and to the police and all of that. How would you say respect has done things from a holistic approach as it relates, and I would specifically say our youth? What would you say about that, Sharon?
Well, what the Respect organization has done and is doing and will continue to do for the youngest to the oldest in our community, because to serve our children, we interact with their families, their legal guardians and caregivers, and being that we are speaking about the seniors at this time, we have grandmothers bringing their children to the back-to-school rally to get book bags, school supplies, but those are not the only things we provide. Dr. Chastity is very instrumental in helping us together community service organizations that are able to provide services for our families, for the students and the children. And when you're seeking funding, collaboration is a big, big word. They always want to hear how you are working with other organizations within your city to assist the families, the children, age 0 from birth to death. We have a service to provide. The Respect organization, with our annual turkey giveaway, we are fortunate to collaborate with Christian Service Mission here in Birmingham, and through them we gather turkeys or a chicken or a ham and a clean box of groceries to go with that meal. And it's enough food that you can eat off of at least a couple of days, just depends on your portions, you know. But yeah, that's how we interact. We had a young man to come in with giving away coats, and we participated in his coat drives. The air conditioner thing, y'all remember when it was so hot we were about to die, didn't know whether that was Christ coming back or not. But things like that we involve ourselves in.
Let's talk about that if we can. I heard two things. I heard kingdom collaboration, and I'm also hearing don't do it alone. And it sounds like with agencies that we're all working with, and I also lead a human service agency, if you will, but when we talk about agencies, what types of things can we do collectively to be able to spread the message, both from a holistic point of view in terms of mind, body, and spirit? What can we do collectively? And I'm going to start there with you, Dr. Chastity.
So I think collectively, again, we go back to this idea of we're all one team serving one community. And when we can get on the same page about that, then that's half the battle. I think the other part about that is really having an opportunity to, what I have learned in my training, even academically, and just in my tenure over the last 27 years or so, working with social service agencies, is the need to create what we call community resource inventories, to really be able to see what do we have in our hands, what do we already have that will allow for us to be sustainable in our efforts, to really not only effective but sustainable in the efforts that we have to be able to serve our community. And that's really kind of where our funders even come from, because they want to know about collaborations, because they want to know when the funding dries up, does that mean that this service ends? Your ability to provide the service ends. And so when we get to the place where we can see what's in our hands, know stuff like, Okay, but Bethesda Family Life Center has a building. We have access to the population. But then you have people like, say, UAB, who need access to the population and they need a building. But they have the expertise in a specific area about a specific health condition. They have resources that we don't have. Being able to share that with them, to let them know that we have a common purpose. We have a common mission. You have a resource. We have a resource. If we put our resources together, that means that we spend less and everybody can just do what they do. We can get the people here. We can make sure that the people are staying in the program, and you can provide the service for the program. And we do the same thing with other organizations. We've got organizations, fantastic organizations like Grace Klein that provide food every single day, in addition to all kinds of furnishings for housing and clothes and stuff every single day. Well, maybe your church doesn't need to do a food drive. Maybe your church doesn't need to do a clothing drive. But maybe your church ties into what's happening at Grace Klein and directs people to Grace Klein so that they can get the food that they need, the clothing that they need, get the furnishings that they need. And vice versa, if we are then doing something that, say, Grace Klein or some other organization needs the community access to, then they come here. Yeah. They then tie into what we are doing. And that allows for real power, that allows for real continuity of care, but that also allows for us to then create sustainable partnerships and programs that are then fundable and that are also sweatless, because everybody is just doing what they already do. And when you can really tie into that, it really allows for us to be a much more effective kingdom of ministers.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just say, as you say that, it sounds like, again, it's body. It's the entire body working together jointly to make sure that every ligament, every joint, every cell is working for the good of the kingdom. And I think sometimes that we don't look at how kingdom work really is, because it comes down to our individual social service agencies. And we're able to spread the gospel if, in fact, we're doing what we do well. Right. Sometimes I think we try to do too much of everything instead of doing what we're good at.
Exactly.
And if we concentrate on what we're good at, then somebody else might be good at something else and we can tie into them.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking that's what I'm hearing.
And that really is it at the end of the day. And that's really what the funders and when you start thinking about like big money funding, the funders want to know who's on your team.
That's right.
They want to know who are the experts in that area. If you say that you're going to do something that focuses on health, they want to know who are the medical providers on your team. They want to know, do you have any people who have expertise in that particular subject? Even when you're doing youth empowerment, they want to know, how long has the program been in existence? What have you done to prove to us that if we give this funding to you, that you know what you're doing? And that's where the power of collaboration comes in, because if you let the people who are experts in this area do what they do, when you put a grant funding proposal together, when you start to put other kinds of proposals together to get corporation funding or what have you, they can look on there and say, oh, Dr. So-and-so.
That's right.
They have an internal medicine physician who specializes in prostate treatment. So we can give them funding for a prostate program.
It almost adds credibility.
It adds a
More
lot of credibility. Honestly, if I can say, and just kind of give a personal anecdote, that is the reason why I went to school to get a PhD. I didn't go to school to get a PhD because I wanted to just be a scientist. I went to school to get a PhD because I knew that I needed transferable skills first for the kingdom, and I also knew that we needed credibility in the kingdom, because we do a lot of wonderful things, but we can't prove it.
And let's just talk about that for a minute. Sharon, I want to go back, and I heard that loud and clear. I heard 30 years. So our apostle, our pastor, has been successful with the Respect organization for 30 years. Dr. Roberts talked about sustainability. Respect has been around for 30 years. Give us a couple of nuggets based on what you have seen. You've been here the whole time. What have you seen that has promoted the organization and made it sustainable?
First, it starts with integrity. When you reach out to others to support your ministry, your service, whatever it is that you're doing in the earth, period, whether you're a nonprofit or not, you want to show integrity. You want your yay to be yay, your nay to be nay. You want to have your paperwork in order. If you're going to be a nonprofit, you want to have your articles incorporated, filed with your state. You want to do your 501c3 application with the federal government. You want to establish a board of people who will buy into your vision, support your vision, talk your vision, live your vision. I get comment from different ones because every time I show up for respect, I have my respect t-shirt on, but everybody else have their suits and nice clothes on, you know. I be dressed nice too, but this is my suit. This is my suit. So you just want to make report. When people give you money, let them know what you did with that money to the penny. And don't let them have to wait until the next year. They will sometimes give you dates that you will have to make your reports back. But integrity is the biggest thing. Saying what you're going to do, doing what you say you're going to do, and proving what you've done. And it's a good thing to have the Dr. Chastity's on your board and on your team, because she's an excellent statistician, and you need not think you're going to take her from us. Overwork her. She's excellent with that. So you need people, whatever your weakness may be as the leader, you need to find those strengths in other people, not be selfish about it, be able to share. And sometimes when it comes to collaborating with other organizations, we may have a hard time with that because I want my name in lights. I want you to know that I did this, I started this. But the bottom line, who is glorified?
That's right.
Talking to the Christian church, talking to the spiritual churches, who are you really working for? Is it yourself, or are you trying to glorify our Creator?
That's good. That's good.
So it matters.
Okay. And I heard sustainability comes from having good people working with you, alongside of you, but also integrity. And I think everybody, whether you have a nonprofit or a for-profit organization, you can certainly take those nuggets to heart. Yes. Joe, I'm going to ask you if you would just talk a little bit about, we started on the senior piece. Right. And I'm going to ask you to expand, even though that's the piece that you're working on right now and the most. What would you say about the person who is trying to, or the organization or agency that is trying to serve the whole person? You talked about an insurance agent maybe coming in. Dr. Chastity talked about the food and the nutrition. As you are working with seniors per se, but also the whole person, what types of things would you see that we need to do? And you can talk specifically about seniors if you want to, but what types of things would you see?
Well, first of all, I think the whole, as we were talking, the whole body has to be educated. And I'm talking about the whole body of Christ, the whole community has to be educated, because there are a lot of things that that seniors have to encounter because they were not prepared. Okay,
Preparation.
They were not prepared. And when you deal with the insurance piece of it, which I specialize in, when you deal with that, is that if you're prepared, for instance, if you're in business for yourself, there's a way to actually fund your retirement. Even though you're in business for yourself, you want to make sure that you adequately fund your retirement. And there are a lot of insurance pieces out there right now where you can start when a baby is, when a child is 3 years old, and you put a policy on them, and by the time they get 29, they're worth $3 million, you know. So when I say that, what I'm basically saying is when you have a situation that the whole church or the whole community is involved in, as far as, hey, look, let's do what is needful for us to have good outcomes, rather than to have outcomes where when a person turns 64 years old, they don't have insurance, you know. Well, we start early. When we start early, as far as education, with the things that are actually happening, with everything that's actually happening in life, you know, because a lot of times we believe God that we're healed, and I know Him as a healer myself, but when we really get down to it, you know, if we had to took better care of ourselves, we wouldn't have to be, we'd be walking in divine health, you know, if we had to took care of ourselves when we were at the age of respect, passing out the book bags, right? And making sure that our children are taken care of, when we make sure that our children have a full aspect of that, the full aspect of, hey, look, I need to make sure that I am saving the right amount of money. I am, and that's in business or whatever, I'm saving the right amount of money. I am making sure that I have all my bases covered so I can have good outcomes. I'm not looking for a handout. All my, you know, God's taking care of all of my needs.
So when you talk about, and I heard preparation for me, I heard is never wasted time. So we really need to look at preparation in terms of everything that we do. Now, one of the things, I think we may have some older viewers, again, most of us are almost seniors, or seniors now, most of us. When we look at the age piece, and I want to go back to social services and go back to respect, but also the senior piece, what do we say to that person that didn't prepare, but they're still living and there's still things that they need to do? What would you say? What would you say? What would you say? And again, you can tie it into respect, tie it into social services. And I'm going to start with Dr. Chastity.
I would say that it's never too late to begin again. You can start where you are. So no, you don't have, you know, this huge savings. No, you don't have adequate insurance. But now is the time for you to open yourself up to being educated about what you can do now. Maybe what you can do now is getting a Medicare Advantage plan so that it covers all of your insurance needs. Maybe it is getting assistance that you need to help you now that you are a caregiver to, you know, your grandchildren or to your parents, to help you get to a place where, no, I don't have a savings, but how can you start to budget the income that you have now so that you can at least start to create a cushion? Being able to think about what kinds of things can I do where I am, even if I need to get a second income. Does that mean that I need to become a Walmart grader? Does that mean that I can tap into this new world of social media where I can then become a content creator and just share what my love for cooking, since I cook every day anyways? But things like that to help people to see that we're living in a different world. We're living in a world full of opportunities for you to really get to the place where you are leading your life and not being dragged by it.
That's good. That's a really good analogy, and I love that because it didn't just speak to seniors, it spoke to the youth as well. No matter what you're doing, no matter what age you are, community service, social services, there are resources out there for you. I want you to talk about that if you would, Sharon.
And Shelley, panel members, this has been very informative. I want to thank all of us for taking time for this. Pastor Green making it available. 211 is through United Way. It's a community service number. Anything that you think you may need, call 211. They have this master book of organizations that provide every kind of service you can think about. But in closing, I would like to commend the caregivers, the sons and daughters that are taking care of their senior parents. Be encouraged in that. It's a challenge. It's not an easy thing because as seniors, we get set in our ways, and it's just going to be our way or no way sometimes. But we thank God that He's with you, for you, more than anything against you. He's on your side. There's nothing wrong that with you not having what you need that would cause you to go into a shell and not admit what you need. There is someone who will hear you, who will come to you, who will answer you. But we start with acknowledging the Lord in all of our ways so that He can direct our paths and open us up to the right people in the right place at the right time, who are also serving the right God right now so that they can hear what you're saying and what you need and lead you in green pastures. So we love you. We bless you, our young people. Thank you for taking on, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, I'm sorry, thank you, didn't mean to do it, I'll do better. Respect every single person ever created today, no matter what their place and role is in your life. Yes. Respect.
That's foundation.
Yes.
That's foundation.
Yes.
Joe.
I'd like to say more along the lines of what Chassie was saying. Our yesterday is in the tomb. It got you to your right now. And your now, what you're doing right now, or what you decide to do right now, is what brings you into your tomorrow. And with that being said, Jeremiah 33:3, if my memory serves me correctly, it says, "Call unto the Lord, and He's going to show you great and mighty things." And one of the things that I say to that, if we just cry out for knowledge, it will be given to us. If we seek it, we'll find it. And if we don't do that, then we have no one to blame for that but ourselves. But I will say this, that if you're 18 years old, if you're 64 years old, is what you do right now that's going to determine your future and how you end up. It's what you do right now.
That's awesome. And I'm going to use that as an acronym that I have heard before, and that is the word now. No opportunity wasted. No opportunity wasted. So as it relates to our social service agencies, as it relates to our seniors, as it relates to respect, what I'm hearing with all of what we're bringing to the table today, first of all, is putting God first. And I think that's what our apostle has done. That's what our pastor has done, Pastor Green, and developing IMF, the Incense Ministerial Fellowship. And that really brings pastors and ministers together to eat of the word, but also to be able to share the gospel with others. And I think, again, before we do anything, we've got to acknowledge Him. We've got to put Him first and say, God, I don't know how to do this. But then also to get the knowledge. There's knowledge, there's education out there. And I think if all of us agree, foundationally, knowledge has to be first. First the natural, then the spiritual. But clearly, even as we look at the social services and the agencies, there are agencies out there that can help all of us, no matter what their ages are. No matter what our ages are. And at the same time, there is a God who loves us more than anything. And so if we turn to Him first, He is our source, and then come our resources. So with that, this kind of ends our session for the IMF. We're in, as you all can see, Feast of Harvest. And so we're excited about what's happening. If you don't know anything about the Feast of Harvest, it's going on from October 14th, which we're past now, up until the 19th. Come join us nightly. You'll have a wonderful time, but you'll also hear about resources, but the biggest resource, and that is the Lord Jesus Christ. We want you to get to know him. Ministers, come out, get fed. Even if you're not a minister, come out, get fed. Hear the word, hear the gospel, hear the music, and have it change your life. So we're excited. Come join us. If you don't know anything about IMF, you can reach us at 205-322-2644. Again, if you want to find out more about the ministry or you need prayer, 205-322-2644. And it looks like that will wrap us up. Any last words anybody want to say before we end out and close this session out?
I'd like to say that Satan is defeated and Jesus is absolutely Lord.
That's a great way to end it. Well, we'll see you all hopefully next time on another session having IMF. And again, Satan is defeated and we are victorious. Have a great day.
Amen.